Greetings and God bless. So I was listening to an audiobook and I was wondering, instead of enabling people who are dealing with chronic illness, whether it's obesity, and I personally don't think that the majority of what's called obesity is actually somebody just eating too much food. From what I understand, and if you look it up, obesity is a lot of it has to do with chronic inflammation, when our body is experiencing a lot of allergies or low grade infection. Our bodies hold a lot of water weight. There's white blood cells. When there's parasites, they tend to clog up certain glands like the gallbladder or liver or weak parts of the body. And so our lymph, like some like to live in, I can't remember exactly where, but so and if you notice the past few years or past, I don't know, millennia, people's weight is definitely in America much more overweight. And so our food, the food quality is less. It has less nutrients. It's propped up on pesticides, which are killing our gut microbiome, and we're being engineered to eat more um, manufactured. Um, is it complex carbohydrates? So what is available to us is harmful to our health, not to mention the hormone disruptors in the plastics that are wrapping our food or in our water, and who knows, maybe aerosolized in our air, and chemicals that are put on our mattresses, in our clothing, on our furniture. Like, I think I notice a lot of women with very large, like disproportionately, like deformed, larger bottoms than their top part or even their calves. And so they're sitting on something. I think these some of these chairs probably have very toxic chemicals on the padding, and chemicals in the car. So would somebody who wants to be like on the cover of Vogue magazine, who's 400 pounds and is a male to female, would they rather want to just stay being a male to female on 400 pounds? Would they have rather that become that? Or if we were in a non toxic world, a healthy world, where that boy was allowed to be healthy, beautiful, an agent of his own change, his own capability. Because what I'm noticing in these male to females, these episodes of violence, like they're acting like men. They're acting like violent men. They just have long hair, wearing makeup and nail polish, but they're brandishing an axe and and using it on a defenseless man at the 7-Eleven. So, regardless of the hormones somebody's taking or the sex change operation that they've done, regardless of what they're claiming, they're behaving like men, for instance. Or if it's a woman, like, would you rather be this 400-pound woman, just live your life that way, or would you rather have the solutions so you can actually be physically healthy, be a normal weight, be a healthy weight for your height and lifestyle? Would you rather have the solutions, or would you rather be enabled by like a fascistic narrative that forces everybody to, like, yeah, I think a male to female who's 400 pounds and bullying everybody, yeah, that's so attractive. Like, what would you rather have? And of course, the malignant, narcissist, demon possessed people are like, yeah, I want to torture as many people as possible. So, yeah, let's have this dysfunctional, poisonous world keep me this way. Or would you rather learn about how the body works, or even just not even how the body works, just get your body healthy? And yeah, the system, I mean, it's engineered. That's the thing. We have to realize the system is making everybody obese, diabetic, autistic, psychotic. I mean, with the new like I just moved to Denver about a year ago, and I had no idea. I knew that they legalized pot, but I was thinking it was the pot of 30 years ago when it was just low key people um, just smoking, flower plants, like green things. But now, uh, like what, because of legalization, now they have to make this kind of cracky kind of stuff where it's this concentrated resin, and they're using like blow torches to melt it and smoking it out of these crazy pipes and whatnot. Uh, we're in a super crazy world. I don't know how people are content and traveling and living life and going out to dinner and stuff like that when it seems to me like things are really bad. But people are content. But my question is, though, do we enable the 400-pound woman or male to female to just accept that, being 400 pounds, as opposed to having a solution that's going to prevent them from getting diabetes and having to be on dialysis and having to get a kidney transplant at a later point? And if you're a transsexual who's had operations where you have a lifetime of subsequent operations to go, and being on a lifetime of medication, like, is that really the destiny we want for people? Is to be slaves to the medical system, basically? Do we want to enable that, or do we want to stop the toxins in our environment and provide solutions for healing the barrage of toxins that we are exposed to? Because if we heal, then folks don't have to become diabetic and have to take insulin and have to deal with kidney failure and kidney disease and a kidney transplant and subsequent be on autoimmune suppressive drugs all their life, or if they're transsexual, those other operations and medications for life. I mean, do we want to really enable this profit? Like this is a new growth industry for medicine, is enabling obesity, enabling transgender stuff, enabling just a toxic lifestyle, because then it makes people a prisoner who pay into the medical system or who are trafficked by the medical system? Or do we allow for freedom where you detox from chemicals and poisons and whatever, and you retain your gender identity so you don't have to get operated on, or you retain your God-given healthy body so you don't have to go on diabetes medication and get transplants, like kidney transplants and stuff like that? Like, what really is the right thing? Now, I agree, no one should be shamed if they're going through health crises, whether it's a mental health crisis or a physical health crisis. Like, if somebody's 400 pounds, they need help. They need professional help. If somebody's going through a gender dysphoria issue, they need professional help, but qualified professional help that has their interests at heart and that is not serving up human sacrifice to a satanic system that's worshiping, um, you know, demons. Basically, the Hippocratic Oath. Look into it. It's an oath to Apollo and various goddesses. Now, if we look at Roman and Greek goddesses, how much of human interests did they have at heart? They didn't. We were just inconsequential toys to the Greek gods and goddesses. If you look at those legends and stories, And that is who doctors and nurses, whoever took the Hippocratic Oath, took an oath to. Okay? And I believe that some people in the medical industry, and I believe the globalists, believe in those type of demons. They're called gods. We're brainwashed that these are gods, but these are like fallen angels. These are demons. These are evil beings. And yes, some may appear to be nice or good or informative, instructive, but evil can be instructive. Like Satan comes as a angel of light. That's what the Bible says. So humans are not the best discerners of what's even in their own best interest. But my point is that like that movie, Joey McGuire or Toby McGuire, I forget that that movie with Tom Cruise where he says follow the money. Somebody says follow the money. That's what we need to understand. That's what we need to look at. And instead of enabling people to destruction, because there's so much that's toxic about enabling narcissistic people. Because and if you look at the poster child of the month of whatever activist thing that's going on right now, whatever social justice thing that's going on right now, for every like poster child, like Dylan McVaney or whatever that guy's name is, for every poster child that's being vaunted as some sort of victim of conservatives or Christians, there's a million others who are not so photogenic that the LBGT agenda could care less about. That's the thing. I mean, and it's being demonstrated by how women are being abandoned by the LGBT community. Lesbians are being abandoned by the LGBT community, anybody who does not support the male to female invasion of women's bathrooms, girls' locker rooms, girls' bathrooms, women's sports is demonized by the LGBT community, even if it's a lesbian, even if it's a woman. So, and I don't understand how people hold these, a biological woman who claims to be a feminist gets hysterical defending a man's right to be in a women's bathroom. Like, this does not make sense. Women who have experienced molestation, incest by male family members are supporting pedophiles. Like, this does not make sense, and what do we do? Like, what do we do when our peers seem to have lost their minds, because for me, if I see somebody who's like 400 pounds, I'm like, okay, they need some type of support to get healthy, to purge those parasites and those heavy metals and whatever toxins, mold that they're exposed to, the emotional damage that, the incest. Like, a lot of times obesity is due to some type of incest that somebody had experienced as a child, and they may not even remember it. And like, isn't it better to heal the shame? Isn't it better to heal whatever complex issue that's caused in a trans person's mind? Isn't it better to heal them emotionally and spiritually rather than chop them up as a child and set them up it's basically, you're the employee of the medical system because you got to come in so doctors can get paid. Like, it's the most evil agenda. I can't believe it exists and that people are supporting it. Like, so I think the victims are really those who are getting chopped up, especially like the children, and that teachers and parents and licensed providers are facilitating this is monstrous. And I just cannot think they are anything else but evil. Like, and they're gonna probably 10, 15, if we even have a world, they're gonna be like, well, I just didn't know, like 15 years later or something, or when they get sued and have to go to jail, they're like, "Well, I didn't know. It just sounded good. I was just going along, blah, blah, blah." Like the parents should have been more responsible or something like that. Like, so, anyways, I just think people need true healing. They need proper nutrition, a clean environment, a healthy family system and community. And with that, weight issues are going to be okay. And this whole gender thing is going to would resolve itself. Um, just because anybody or any culture had, you know, gender stuff going on didn't mean that it was an established authority of how to be. What culture was totally, like, what longstanding culture was totally a transgender culture? There isn't one. Yes, the globalists are all transgender. Gates is a girl, and Prince Charles is a girl, and Trump and Biden probably, maybe. But, all of the men are women, and all of the females, like Ivanka Trump and Melania Trump, it's men. Marilyn Monroe was a man. It looks like to me, George Bush Jr.'s wife looked a spitting image of Aleister Crowley. So, but his wife is a man. Like all the presidents' wives are men, all the presidents are women, all the queens are men, all the men are women, all the kings are women. Like, so this cult that's taken over the earth for this short time, they're a transgender cult. But the people who are working at the gas station or the grocery store, or your plumber or whatever, these are real genuine human beings. And these are really who's running the world. That's the thing. That's the thing we don't realize, is the people who make it possible for you to get your coffee, your breakfast, you get you on the road, make sure your lights are on and your doors open and close right. Like, these are the people who make it run. And yet people are like looking at fashion magazines of movie stars and stuff. And yeah, we need diversion, we need entertainment just to get a break from the grind and stuff like that. But we really devote too much time on inconsequential people. Like, yes, musicians, artists, actors, they do sometimes, in being able to watch a recorded performance, they do sometimes offer a balm to the soul that can save our life, and praise the Lord for that. Unfortunately, people don't have a relationship with God enough to have the word, of the King James Bible help us. So, praise the Lord for the good things that entertainment can provide. But the amount, like the emulation, like that's that the fact that people are spending all their money trying to look like a movie star or live like a movie star, it's a terrible lack of priority for themselves and for their children and for their community. And I just think, like, uh, you know the whole thing about reparations and whatnot. So, wouldn't it be better for there to be a fair system, not the good old boys? And I've experienced discrimination by the good old boys too, because I didn't have a master's degree when I was trying to apply for a job I was qualified for, and would have been more inspired than all of the employees there. But I didn't get it because they all had their master's or PhD, and they didn't want somebody with just a bachelor's to get in. So I was not allowed, not welcome. And these were all white women. These were all white people who kept me out. Like, just I was discriminated against. I was interfered from being able to improve my life. And another example is that I noticed that employers don't necessarily want to hire somebody who needs a job. They want to hire somebody who doesn't need a job, who has an excellent wardrobe, drives a BMW, has a wealthy husband that's paying for everything. Like they hire high class people maybe to make friends with in their own social life. They're not hiring people who really need to work unless it's like some horrible job where you're working in 150-degree heat and constant loud 200 decibel noise and everything like that, you know. And even so, uh, like you're not valued. Like when I've worked those horrible jobs, I wasn't valued. I was regarded as garbage. I was treated like garbage. I was working in terrible conditions. Um, but like how, when somebody's like demanding reparations, like I never learned how to drive, so when I was walking around Rapid City, South Dakota, these Native Americans who were drunk and high and in a group would come up to me and demand reparations, claiming that I was walking on their land. Like I was walking in downtown Rapid City on the concrete sidewalk or on a concrete sidewalk, trying to walk to the laundromat in 100-degree heat. And I was told I was walking on their land. So apparently, the city of Rapid City doesn't maintain that, didn't build that sidewalk or those buildings, or put in the sewage, or put in the running water, or put in the electricity. Apparently, these drunk Native Americans did it all, and I owe them. You know, like how does that work? Like when you think that just because of my white skin that I owe somebody money, somebody of color money, even though my parents did nothing to them or 1,000 miles away, even though my grandparents came from another country, at least on one side of my family, and another side of my family was in Europe. Like my lineage has nothing to do with any of this whole politically correct virtue signaling race baiting thing going on. But just by virtue of a color, I admit that it's all my fault. Like, does that really help those drunk, doped up Native people to get reparations? And what are they going to do? Like, a Native person I met the first like week I was there was like, oh yeah, when they get land, they just buy it and spend it all on drugs and alcohol, and it's gone in a year. Like that's what would happen, and that's what's going to happen. That's what happens to people who expect to get reparations or free money or whatever. They're going to spend it all on stupid stuff, and they're going to need more. And since if they get reparations once, they're going to expect to get it again and again. It's blackmail. This is emotional blackmail. Now, how good is it for us to enable emotional blackmail rather than what is it that they're good at? What is it that they can contribute to human civilization? I notice a lot of people who are kind of criminal or whatever, like homeless people who are aggressive, very aggressive homeless people. I was in Philadelphia, and this one black lady kept on trying to spare change me, and I was barely surviving myself, and I was really struggling. And I was like, she was very annoying, very aggressive, very angry, which was Philly. Um, I don't know if it still is that angry, but I really didn't like it. But I was like, if they put a fine dress on her, like a corporate executive outfit on her, and put her in corporate America, she would get things done. Like there are some people who are, you know, criminal, but put in the right situation, they'd be making Fortune 500 company millions, billions of dollars, running a country. And I think, like, of course, some people are like, well, nobody will hire me because, you know, I'm this color or I'm this weight. I mean, people don't hire me because I don't have fancy nails and hair and my name is a certain, like, ethnicity. Like, I get discrimination too. That's the strange thing, is like people of color are like, oh well, white people never experience discrimination. We totally do. What I think discrimination is really classism. Because if you have a really beautiful black lady, or handsome lady, or beautiful lady who's either Asian, Latina, um, black, or whatever, just a really beautiful lady, or a really handsome man, whether he's black, Hispanic, or whatever, and you have a really dumpy white person who's not as skilled or equally skilled, the more beautiful person is going to be hired. Somebody who's very tall or whatever, just because beauty is it feeds your soul. So I mean, and hopefully there's and then the thing is, if there's somebody who's ugly but they have a great personality, that also feeds your soul. So it just depends on whatever, on what's more important to the person hiring. And you know what? That's the hirer's decision. Like, that's their right. If they want to hire somebody beautiful, they get to hire somebody beautiful. If they want to hire somebody black, they get to hire somebody black. And that's what's going on right now with the affirmative action that's going on. So, and I don't know, maybe that there's a fine line about it being racial profiling, discrimination, and stuff like that. Maybe there is something to that, but do we enable people to continue with the dysfunctional mindset and lifestyle, or do we give them opportunity? What's the best? What's the best for that person? What's the best for civilization? It's to give them opportunity. Like, don't baby trans people or obese people or people of color. Don't patronize them. Like, while some emotionally stunted people might enjoy being patronized or not see through it, like, those of you who can see through it, like, stop. Like, don't let them do this. Don't let them destroy America for some stupid reason, like from some emotionally immature reason. And I think that a lot of white people are just dumb, and I think they're being emotionally manipulated, and I think they have doubt about themselves, and I wonder if they're masochistic or something like that, because why would they suffocate themselves and put weird chemicals in themselves and their babies? That's the worst part of it. Is these so-called parents subjected their babies to these injections or to these sex change operations and stuff like, and to these creepy teachers. Where are these parents' minds? And I think some of these malignant narcissists who are facilitating this satanic agenda, I think they're like, oh, it will never hurt me because I'm never going to have a kid and I don't care about anything. No, it's going to hurt you somehow, and if not on earth, it's going to hurt you in hell. So I just say, hey, let's try to find solutions to obesity, to gender dysphoria, that doesn't cut people up, that doesn't, poison them with hormones or whatever. Like, let's try to find a natural solution to heal your heart, to heal your soul, your emotions, and because there is a way. There is a way with when you have a sincere guide to help you. And why not get help before you get chopped up? Or before you get addicted to like reparations and stuff like that. Because like that, it's just like that's ill-gotten gain, and you're gonna have a hole in your heart. And people are like, well, I don't care, I'll buy my fancy car and get my hairstyle and hire prostitutes, and it's going to be a great life. No, it's not. Like, people who live that way, who live on drugs and prostitutes and conspicuous consumptions, are not happy people. The happiest people are those with nothing, but they have family and friends and community. That's what matters. So, what do you guys think? God bless.